A millennium in the past, the pioneers departed Earth, forging the League of Free Worlds. Destiny bestowed upon some the warmth of sun-drenched planets, while others found themselves destined to emerge on a planet veiled in impenetrable swamps. Within this challenging terrain, a model city emerged, governed by order, prosperity, and unwavering control. Christ, among those unable to embrace such a life, found herself confined behind prison walls. On planet XT-59, where death penalty is non-existent, a group of 10 prisoners faces a lifelong exile in the treacherous swamps where the elusive Paradise Islands beckon, though their existence remains shrouded in uncertainty due to the perilous creatures that inhabit the swamps. As the prisoners braced for their final odyssey, the captain rendered one of them incapacitated, veiling his head in a sack and commanding him to forge ahead. Cautiously, the prisoner queried about the security barrier, narrowly avoiding an encounter with the invisible security barrier. The captain, acknowledging their fate, instructed the deactivation of protection, revealing the prisoner's identity. Subsequently, an order was issued to provide the prisoners with a metal box containing essential supplies, with a strict hour countdown to their departure, under the threat of guards terminating them on the spot. Amidst the tense atmosphere, a woman spiraled into hysteria, proclaiming her innocence as a tourist. Attempting to flee, she was intercepted and pacified by Krista. Erwin, the liberated prisoner, proposed introductions. Yet the formidable UST, known as the Polar Wolf, disrupted the initiative. The group's unity was further interrupted by the emergence of a perilous underground creature named the Pagan, driven by vibrations, dragging its prey beneath the surface. Christie asserted her intention to solely heed Erwin, prompting UST to reaffirm his dominance. Erwin suggested sharing supplies, opening the box, and managing to secure only a knife before the others lunged for the supplies. The Polar Wolf reiterated his authority, but Erwin, rejecting the prisoner hierarchy, declared his departure to the Paradise Islands. Christe, aligning with Erwin, insisted on claiming their fair share of supplies. The Wolf's subordinate asserted rights over Christie, leading Erwin to press a knife to his throat, emphasizing the consequences of prisoners turning against each other. Faced with this ultimatum, the Wolf acquiesced, providing the duo with their share of supplies. In an additional negotiation, Erwin secured the metal box itself in exchange for a portion of their food supply, a concession made by the Wolf. The Wolf organized his group for the impending journey as Christe appealed to Erwin to assist the helpless tourist, a plea met with Erwin's reluctant refusal. "That woman is already gone, even though she's oblivious to it," Erwin clarifies to Christie, urging her to go first as she is lighter, making it easier for him to rescue her if she happens to fall into the swamp. In the meantime, a command from the fortress instructs the prisoners to reach the shore. The Wolf takes the lead with his team. Erwin and Christie secure a weighty box with ropes and embark on their journey. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out from the fortress. People seek refuge behind rocks, and Erwin realizes he was the intended target. He compels Christie to crawl out of the perilous area. Along the way, the girl notices small crawling creatures, but Erwin reassures her of their harmlessness, suggesting they might serve as a potential food source, much to Christie's disgust. Shortly after, the duo reaches a relatively safe location, confirming that Wolf's team is tracing their path. Observing Erwin's calculated and problem-solving approach, Christie becomes concerned, pondering the identity of the man before his exile. Doubting the existence of Paradise Islands, she questions Erwin, who rightly points out that attempts on his life wouldn't have occurred if such islands were mere fiction. The guards would have been certain of his demise. Despite Erwin's unfamiliarity with the swamp, he exudes confidence in finding the right path. Meanwhile, the president reprimands the captain for the continued existence of the advisor. Sergeant Matthias, the disguised prisoner, failed to carry out the elimination. The captain reassures the president, asserting the swamp's impassability. During their journey, Christie and Erwin discover a small stream of clean water. As the girl washes her face, contemplating her misfortunes, Erwin abruptly instructs Christie to freeze. She initially thinks he's attempting to take advantage of her, but it turns out that Erwin spotted the pagan, emerging unexpectedly from beneath the ground. Christie grabs a knife and severs part of the creature. Following this, Christie tends to Aaron's wound and shares her prison story, revealing her resistance against an inspector who attempted to force her into intimacy. At this critical moment, the wolf's group emerges from behind the rocks. The man aims to reclaim the metal box, but Erwin, using the creature part cut off by Christie as an electric whip, thwarts his intentions. Recognizing the unfavorable circumstances, the wolf decides to let them go. Despite their departure, the wolf persistently tracks them. Erwin, aware of a place on the rotten shore where former prisoners reside, leads them, hoping that the wolf, as their leader, might fall into a swamp trap. Erwin notices the pagan's tips protruding from the ground and instructs Christie to lie down. "Be silent and not move," they comply, observing as a massive root of the pagan emerges over the wolf's group, dragging several people underground. Meanwhile, the president contacts the captain again, who assures that he has implemented the necessary measures, and his man is on the trail in the swamps. Erwin and Christie decide to halt for the night. Erwin is willing to share his story if Christie solves his riddle about the cost of a chocolate bar. However, as he lays out the conditions of the riddle, Christie drifts into sleep. She awakens to a strange sound and witnesses a wave of creatures approaching them. Attempting to escape, Erwin throws her into a box, climbs in himself, and seals the lid. The pair waits out the invasion, and despite the box's lid eventually being breached, they remain unharmed. Eventually, silence descends, and they emerge outside. Christie's first inquiry is about the answer to the riddle, and upon learning it, she finds solace. With the box no longer necessary, the pair discards it. They soon reach the liquid part of the swamp. Meanwhile, the remaining members of the wolf's group follow their trail. However, Lila, realizing the couple might be lost, pursues Erwin and Christie. The wolf chases after her but falls into a swamp pit. Here, Lila inadvertently reveals that Erwin is a former presidential advisor and knows the best course of action. Nonetheless, one of the prisoners, Jan, aids the wolf. In the evening, Erwin establishes a camp, compels Christie to consume raw tadpoles, and confesses that he was the president's advisor. His guilt weighed on him as he accumulated diverse information and aspired to disclose it to the public. Unable to dispose of him discreetly, the authorities dispatched him to the swamps. Yet, he managed to unleash a virus into the control system. It can only be deactivated with the correct code, and he is the sole possessor of that code. Therefore, after the system's collapse, free individuals will have the opportunity to construct their new free city management system. Christie reminds him that they will surely be searching for him, but Erwin is confident that by that time they will already be on the islands. Meanwhile, in the city, the system begins to crumble. Communication satellites fail first. In the morning, Layla and those who departed from the wolf encounter wild people on their path. Hearing their agonized cries, Christie curses whoever invented this method of punishment. Erwin confesses that he did it because he thought it was humane. Christie breaks down and scolds Erwin, urging him to immolate himself so no one can extract his code. He starts shouting, calling the savages to confront, to perish, but no one emerges. Then Christie admits that she was offered freedom for his demise. Meanwhile, the wolf discovers those hiding among the rocks of his group to ensure her survival, Leah. Intrigued by the proposition to eliminate the advisor in exchange for a promised escape on a ship, she discloses the plan. The wolf commands his group to locate the tracking sensor on her body. Attempting to flee, the girl meets her demise ensnared in the perilous web of a swamp fungus. Upon realizing their spy's demise, the captain arms Sergeant Matthias, dispatching him on the advisor's pursuit. Simultaneously, another member of the wolf's group succumbs, and Jan catches up with the couple. Distracted by Jan, Erwin falls into a trap set by the wolf, who aims to bargain the advisor for freedom. Bound and captive, Erwin urges Christie to escape, but unexpectedly she kisses him. Compelling Erwin to stand, the wolf taunts the prisoner, ultimately having to carry Erwin on his back. Meanwhile, Sergeant Matthias's group lands in the ruins of an old prison inhabited by wild criminals. Shortly after, the wolf's group arrives, leaving the Tide advisor and Christie on the sidelines. The wolf engages in negotiations with the sergeant, but in the midst of their discussions, Erwin frees himself and makes a daring escape. The wolf vows to track him down but falls victim to a gunshot from the sergeant. Subsequently, Matthias discovers Christie and Jan, eliminating the latter and leading the girl forward. Erwin confronts Matthias, demanding Christie's release in exchange for himself. Agreeing to the exchange, the military shoots a tranquilizer, hitting Christie, and is then stabbed in the back by the fatally wounded wolf. Grateful for the advice, Erwin thanks the dying wolf, who reveals the non-existence of the Paradise Islands. Consumed by despair, wounded wolf drinks poison to evade prolonged suffering. Later, Erwin, carrying Christie in his arms, reaches the sea, and the advisor realizes that the Paradise Islands are rafts made of plants, and they can cross the strait on them. Meanwhile, the captain loses communication with Matthias and realizes the futility of further pursuit of the advisor. Undeterred, he dispatches the final combat drone in pursuit. During this time, Christie regains consciousness, discovering that their verdant island is gradually submerging. Job, the fellow prisoner, overhears this and bravely plunges into the water to rescue the imperiled couple. Soon, the echo of an approaching drone reaches them, but it ultimately succumbs to the water, confirming the success of Erwin's virus and the subsequent demise of the city's control system. Their elation is short-lived as a cliff looms ahead. The couple envelops themselves in their plant-crafted sanctuary, miraculously surviving a colossal waterfall. Eventually, they reach the shore where Erwin had clandestinely constructed a bunker in anticipation of the president's escape. Unfortunately, Erwin lacks knowledge of the entire code. The president entered the last digit. With only 2 attempts allowed, guessing seems an insurmountable task. However, Christie recalls the riddle about the chocolate bar, armed with the knowledge of the president's answer, a question Erwin once posed to him. She suggests entering the number he previously named, and miraculously, the bunker opens. Yet, their joy is short-lived when they discover the spaceship within is designed for a solitary occupant. Erwin insists that Christie should embark on the solo flight, but she vehemently refuses, fueled by her love for him. In the movie's final scenes, the intertwined voices of Christie and Erwin resonate, signifying their improbable joint entry into the spaceship. Their salvation exposes the League of Free Worlds to the harsh reality of the planet, leading to the obliteration of the remnants of the oppressive control system. Nevertheless, a decade later, a new, even more ruthless system emerges on planet XT-59.